Well, guess what it's time to do? That's what it's time to do. It's time to call out South Shore 12 again. That's right. For a lot of the serious things they didn't cover and things that they covered, obviously gearing to a certain demographic. And if you saw my other video, which is just uploaded, we're going to actually, I mean, literally, they're all over the South Shore. Babylon, Wantagh, Jones Beach. I mean, this is unbelievable. But first, let's talk about the stuff they barely covered. Man fatally stabbed. Fatally stabbed. So it's a murder. It only gets 25 seconds, though.
Learning that a man was stabbed to death during a party in Huntington Station. Police tell us a 911 caller reported the stabbing on Lowndes Avenue around 2 o'clock
This is what we deal with in the middle.
We are told that 29-year-old...
This is the life that people of color on Long Island have to deal with. This is the life that people who aren't rich, white, preppy, stuck-up white finance professionals have to deal with. This is what we have to deal with.
Justin
and they don't care.
Avila died at the hospital. According to police, another victim was also stabbed and released from the hospital. Right now, no one has been arrested.
I mean, they barely covered it. They barely covered it, and then they do that, shove an ad down your throat. I mean, this is unbelievable. How do you barely cover that? How do you barely cover that? I mean, they went through that so fast.
Lowndes Avenue around 2 o'clock this morning. We are told that 29-year-old Justin Alfaro Avila died.
Somebody died, and they barely covered that. They barely covered that. Oh, but they're all over all the stuff for the snobs. Well, let's talk about the thing that happened in Hicksville, too. Is it even on their website? It might not even be on their website. Let's see. Yeah, this is barely covered. It happened at the Broadway Commons. Again, Hicksville, another community in the middle of the aisle. We get all the problems. Nobody cares about us.
A Bayville man is behind bars after allegedly attacking police officers. Police responded to a disturbance at the Broadway Mall around 4:30 yesterday afternoon. They say 30-year-old Alan Nunez was drunk and injured an officer while resisting arrest. That officer was taken to a local hospital for treatment. Police also say that Nunez inappropriately grabbed and forcibly touched a 15-year-old girl prior to their arrival. Nunez faces multiple charges for the incident this morning. Now he's expected to be arraigned inside of a courtroom later on.
Yeah, barely covered it. Barely covered it. You see what else they barely covered. Oh, that also barely got covered. 26 seconds. Who cares about quorum, right? We know South Shore 12 doesn't care about quorum at all.
A 3-year-old woman is seriously injured this morning after police say that a quorum woman ran her over on purpose. They tell us that Philomena Mistretta intentionally hit the woman.
How do you barely cover this?
It happened in a parking lot along Montauk Highway in between Station Road and Post Avenue.
That's a community of color. They're not going to care about that.
4 o'clock in the morning. 51-year-old Mistretta is charged with assault now, and she's expected to face a judge.
It barely covered it. 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 Barely covered all. Barely covered crime at all. What did they cover today? Well, let's talk about what they did cover. Well, we're going to start with this. I was here at the Babylon Village, and of course, I knew South Shore 12 was going to be all over this. Well, they're upset about a housing plan.
Is brewing tonight in Babylon.
500 residents, strong opposition to an MTA study that could lead to housing developments on what is currently the parking lot for the Babylon train station. Oh, my God. Oh, the horror. The horror. I mean, I was there, and and they just get their way. They get their way. You know, they get their way. Time and time again, these people get their way. But what do we get in the middle? We get forgotten. I'm tired of this crap.
The MTA wants to conduct a study that could bring housing developments to the Long Island Railroad parking lot. News 12's Emily Drewby is there right now. And Emily, anytime you talk about building housing, that certainly brings out a crowd.
You know, the snobs, they don't want it.
Yes, it does. And I have to tell you, this is one of the best attended press conferences I've seen in a long time. There were at least 500 people here in this parking lot.
You know they're going to get their way.
The study and the possible housing that could come from it. Residents and the mayor tell us, for one, it's a congestion issue. They say there's simply just not enough space. They also say a housing development would cost the village money. The village makes close to $400,000 in parking fees, which the mayor says is a big chunk of its annual $13 million budget. The mayor tied this study and potential housing to Governor Hochul's strategy to address New York's housing crisis and build 800,000 new homes. Other officials who...
her name is Hochul. I can't stand her either, but her name is Hochul. At least try to pronounce it right.
Who spoke today say they're not anti-MTA. This just isn't the right place for this project.
Yeah, of course. Isn't the right place. It isn't the right place. What place is? Wyandanch, Deer Park. What place is, huh? Coram. Why can't people in affordable housing get to live in a nice community? No. These people, they want it only for their own kind.
Impact my fire department. It's going to impact the amenities that we offer our village residents now, our village pool. It's going to impact so many other areas than just sticking up apartment buildings and saying, here, this is where you're living.
The mayor tells us this idea was first introduced in the spring. She thought that it had been dropped, but then it became clear it hadn't when she received a call about the study. She is urging residents...
Of course, they pointed the camera at me when I was talking, but of course I'm not included in the story. I love how they only include one side of the story, SouthShore12. Yeah, one side. You never showed my side. You're such one-sided. I mean, you got... And they winning Emmys for this shit? Really? I think it's New 12, New Jersey that should be getting the Emmys, not Long Island. Well, should I say SouthShore12?
To go sign the petition on the village's Facebook page. We also reached out to the MTA, but have yet to hear back from them.
That's me. That's my shadow right there.
News 12, Long Island.
So there you go. But of course, they never cared about my opinion. They never cared about my opinion. Oh, but we're not done yet. Of course, Trump can be all over that. Oh, that gets 1 minute. That gets 1 minute.
And as early voting continues, former President Donald Trump making a major campaign stop right here in our city at Madison Square Garden. News 12's Julia Burns is outside the world's most famous venue, talking to New Yorkers going to this campaign event. And Julia, some people showed up.
You people really disgust me. Hillary Clinton was right about one thing. They truly are deplorable.
Early.
Yes, Nadia, some of these people waiting since yesterday.
You want a fascist. You want a racist, fascist president. I'm just disgusted with the people here. I really am. This is why when I was in Jersey, I'm like, man, this is what I mean. I feel like I don't belong in this state anymore.
Inside here at this rally, supporters and specks of red lining the streets of New York. And while people came from all over to show their support, we caught up with people right here from our borough.
He's a racist. He wants to dismantle NOAA. He denies climate change. What is wrong with these people?
Why they decided to come.
I know that it's worth the wait to represent what we need, and that's consistency.
He's not running again, and this is one of the last rallies before the election, so it's kind of the end of an era with all the rallies he's done.
Mayor Adams reminding New Yorkers that there will be increased police presence, both visible and undercover.
And again, do they interview anyone from the other side? No, they don't, because we know News 12 supports Trump. We know that already. Now, back to the South Shore for this. Yep, 46 seconds. Well, it gets more than the murder.
The Wantagh Street that a 9/11 first responder called home.
Stop the presses. Look at how important they are. See, they're dressed up. They dressed up. They're important.
Ewell Place was dedicated in memory of fallen NYPD Lieutenant Kenneth Rosello this weekend. The longtime Wantagh resident died 8 years ago after a battle with a 9/11 related illness.
It's horrible.
His partner,
but if he was in the middle of the island, they probably wouldn't have covered it at all.
Man who put others first, right up until the day he died.
But one thing about Kenny was he never complained.
It's all about these kind of people. It's just all about it. Time and time again on this station. Right? And they're at Jones Beach, too. Yep, 1 minute and 46 seconds. Jones Beach.
Foundation for Suicide Prevention hosting its Out of Darkness
So hypocritical. So many people are being put down and discriminated against committing suicide. These people are such hypocrites. They're the biggest hypocrites I've ever seen.
Walk at Jones Beach today, and we have our own News 12's Emily Druby. She's there now.
Of course.
With what you can tell us, it looks like a big turnout behind you, Emily.
She looks preppy. She's probably from the South Shore. I bet she lives in Massapequa.
It's a powerful sight here. Thousands of people showed up to support this cause. Many of them have lost loved ones. Others have struggled with suicidal thoughts themselves.
What about people in the middle of the island that have to suffer?
We're walking in honor of my daughter, who struggled and now we're doing this in her memory.
The Cole family honoring Sandra Cole, a life lost too soon.
You know, if you know somebody that may be struggling, talk to them, let them know you're there for them. Let them know you love them.
Yeah, maybe some people in the middle of the island maybe don't want to live anymore because they're tired of being discriminated against.
Walks to remember her son, Neil Hervey, who passed away when he was just 16. She has been bringing awareness to suicide prevention for over a decade.
I'm smiling, but there's pain that I'm carrying every day. As you could see, he was a beautiful child.
Kalea Sinischai lost her father to suicide and has struggled with her own battles. She likes that this walk puts the conversation of suicide front and center.
It's people don't talk about enough how
I love the hypocrisy because, you know, they're talking about suicide, and yet you have people with mental disabilities, with depression and anxiety disorder, people that are way more depressed than I am, that it may be so unhappy where they live, they may consider doing something like suicide, all right? But no, they don't deserve to anything nice, according to these people. We don't deserve anything nice, right? We deserve a brick wall view. That's what we deserve. Yeah, I mean, like I said, hypocrites.
Much suicide can affect people and their families and their friends and their loved ones.
Advocate for more mental health. Stop closing down the agencies. Having these agencies merge.
And the Cole family to come together in the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Long Island's biggest fundraising event of the year.
So this event gives them an opportunity to
connect
with others who have also been through the same losses or struggles.
Hypocrites.
Ann tells us they raised over $500,000 so far for the cause, and the donations are still coming in.
Oh, that's great. That's great. What about donations for people who need better places to live? What about that? I'm not saying so much talking about myself. There are many people that have it way worse. All right? You know, but this is the way people are on Long Island. This is the way they are. Yeah. And of course, they were all over the fire in Saville. And look, it was horrible. I mean, this got 2 minutes and 29 seconds. You know damn well if this fire happened in Mineola, it would have gotten 20 seconds or 30 seconds. But because it happened in Saville, we're going to cover it not just once, we're going to cover it twice.
A South Shore community is heartbroken after a fire tore through their main street. News 12's Liz Burke is in Saville right now. And Liz, this is just heartbreaking for these
We've had fires in Mineola. Oh, they've barely covered that. We've had some pretty bad fires in Mineola, but they've barely covered it. They've barely covered it. I mean...
It is. Good evening, Tama. In one evening, these business owners lost their livelihoods. Many stores were destroyed in the fire. And it caught the attention of many Long Islanders, including fashion designer Michael Kors.
All right, I tell you, it's all about the rich. Michael Kors, of course.
I'm just devastated. I don't know how to recover from
It's horrible. I do feel bad for that
Business owners on Main Street in Saville feeling helpless tonight after a ferocious fire ripped through this strip of stores on Friday. Most stores lost everything.
It's my life's work. I built the floors and the ceilings and everything myself with my former partner and 2 friends. We built it all from scratch because we were young and didn't have money, and it was my dream come true.
After hearing about the devastating fire, dozens of Long Islanders came by
if there was a business in Mineola, they wouldn't care.
Offer hugs and help. Even fashion designer and Long Islander Michael Kors.
When I think about paper doll vintage, I've been
it's
a vintage lover
wealthy,
my whole
right?
life, and there aren't a lot of remarkable vintage stores.
Yankees, I see
in the whole
Yankees,
country.
of course.
And this is always a place
It's all
that we
about
always
these people, man.
find these very, very special finds, and to see such a
horrible.
dream and such a special place just destroyed is...
And it's horrible because the fire spread so quickly, and the lack of rain, which of course they're not going to mention, I think is playing a role. Everything is so dried out. It doesn't just affect the woods, but it affects structures too. I mean, we need rain. But of course, they're not going to talk about that because that would hint on climate change, and that's a no-no at this network.
It's just heartbreaking.
Fire officials say no one was hurt. They say the flames were first spotted in the former location of Cafe Joel, which was closed and undergoing renovation.
It was kind of wind-driven and spread rather quickly to the second adjacent store.
Several online fundraisers have been set up, including one by the Greater Saville Chamber of Commerce.
Pull together
support everybody.
Of course, in Mineola, we don't have fundraisers to restore the businesses when they burn. No, we don't have any of that.
The season of giving, remember to give. These people are going to need it.
I'm just sick of the double standards.
And fire officials say the cause of the blaze is under investigation. If you would like to help these business owners, we have information on our website on how to donate. News12.com.
South Shore 12. You know, I mean, it's so obvious with your network. It's just so obvious with what's going on. It really is. It's all part of the bigger plan that it is. Long Island. It's about these people. It's about these preppy, white finance people, and you got to be with them. If you're not with them, I don't really want to be with them. I don't want to. I just wish the middle class would. We don't have a middle class. That's the point. It's either them or you're going to deal with the weed smoking hoodlums in the middle of the island. There's no middle class left. That's the point. That's all part of the plan. That's it.